Welcome to this week's OK at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, and my colleague, Russell Berger, both attorneys at Offit Kurman. And today we are talking about the Corporate Transparency Act. It's also known as the CTA. So this is something that we've been dealing with a lot over this past year for our clients, just advising them about its existence. It's went into effect January 1st of 2024. And it's a law that is meant to help prevent and combat money laundering, corruption, tax fraud. So what are some things that employers need to be considering as it relates to CTA, Russell? Because I know it went into effect January 1st, but there's some new important deadlines coming up as well.
Yeah, so the main thing the CTA does, it requires basically any registered business, and the business is probably too narrow. It can include nonprofits, trusts, HOAs, all sorts of entities that have to be registered with the state. But it requires those entities to disclose beneficial owners. And beneficial owner has its own definition. We could really get into the weeds of this very quickly. But basically, the main point of raising it now, or reminding everyone of this now, is that while the law came into effect January 1 of 2024, it gave all the registered entities that existed prior to January 1 of 2024 till the end of 2024 to file their beneficial ownership reports and to get on record through the CTA process. We're now in November, so we're coming up on that end of year deadline. And so it's a good time to revisit. If you haven't done it and you're an existing business, you ought to look at doing it now. We're running out of time, clock's getting short. And also a reminder for new businesses, the time to file after the creation of a new entity is going to get shorter in 2025. So in theory, we should all be caught up by the end of this year, but going forward, we're going to have short turnaround time to get compliant after the creation of new entities.
Yeah, and it's important because there's penalties to lack, to not having compliance, not being compliant, I should say. So, fines and different penalties there depending on the situation. So it is something that's important and something that people need to be paying attention to, for sure, if they aren't already.
Yeah, absolutely, and with that, I believe there's 23 exemptions that are in the CTA as to entities that don't have to go through this process. For most ordinary businesses, the most likely one to apply is the large enterprise, large operating company, exemption. And what that really applies to is companies that have an office in the U.S., have 20 or more employees, do over $5 million in gross revenue. Those entities may be exempt. But if you're not that and you don't check all those boxes, then you're going to have to go through this beneficial owner reporting process, which, again, if you're an existing business, if you haven't done it already, it needs to be done by the end of the year.
Well, thanks, Russell. We'll see you next time.
Sarah.